Hey guys, today I'm going to be reviewing the HBO series Chernobyl. So, Chernobyl is a 2019 HBO series, and yes, that came out quite a number of years ago. All of the really good reviews have already been up and about talking about how amazing this show is. But yeah, I just now got around to watching this terrific, amazing production, and I definitely wanted to share my love. I don't know if that's a good term to use with this production, but neither is enjoyment. I don't know how to talk about this show because everything I want to say, I loved it. It was enjoyable. It was entertaining. It all sounds just too highly insane considering how tragic and depressing this show is. So yeah, all of that being said, the Chernobyl incident is a real historical event that happened in April of 1986. So everything I'm about to talk about, I don't consider history to be a spoiler at all. This is all very well documented for the most part. So I'm definitely going to be talking about a few little random things here and there. And yeah, like I said, this series came out back in 2019. Yeah, if you've seen it, definitely let me know your thoughts down below if you've seen this show. And if you haven't seen it, maybe my review will get you, push you in the direction to finally go check out this series if you haven't already. So yeah, let's get going. As the title of this show is called, it's called Chernobyl. Obviously, it is about the incident that happened in April of 1986 at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. This show, you guys, wow. It is only, what was it, 5 episodes? Correct? Yeah. This series was only 5 episodes, but they managed to just jam pack every single episode with so much information and so much nuance and complexity and just so many interesting little things, you know. This show is definitely the type of show, as much as I enjoyed it, once again, I hate kind of saying enjoy. I'm not really quite sure what other type of word to use. As much as I liked this miniseries, the thing is, it's definitely the type of miniseries, if I were to recommend it to people, you really need to be prepared going into this miniseries, and you really need to be, I guess, in the mood to watch this miniseries. Don't just walk lightly into this miniseries. It's very dark and heavy, yeah, guys. It's raw and gritty. It really sets your nerves on edge. It can be very highly upsetting and disturbing and just overly emotional on occasion. Um, you definitely need to kind of be prepared heading into this show, what to expect. Um, like I said, it's very highly upsetting and disturbing with some of the things that are happening. Once again, this is an incident that it really happened, and it caused a lot of damage, and a lot of people died as a result. And not only just dying, but dying in very gruesome, unbearably painful ways as a result. Radiation poisoning and whatnot. I've always heard radiation poisoning is one of the worst ways you could possibly die, because even in the show they kind of explain it at one point that they can't even give morphine to people because the blood vessels are being corrupted and can't even get morphine into the blood system to dull the pain or anything, you know. So yeah, radiation poisoning is gruesome and terrible, and this show definitely does not sugarcoat anything. It does not back off from anything. You definitely see people lying in hospital beds, you know, their entire bodies just decaying right there on a bed, you know. It's very upsetting and disturbing. So yeah, you need to walk into the show prepared what to expect, you know. Yeah, this miniseries, just an incredibly well done production, you guys. Um, I obviously know about the Chernobyl incident through name, you know, and it being part of the historic record and whatnot. But yeah, I didn't know too terribly much walking into the show. So this show is definitely, it's very highly educational. I think you're going to learn a lot, and my understanding is that it's pretty historically accurate. Yes, there's definitely liberties taken in there, I'm assuming, but for the most part, what I kind of gathered when I was doing some additional research after the fact was that much of everything going on here was pretty accurate, because they wanted the creators of this show, they wanted to keep it as accurate as possible, not to belittle anything or belittle the deaths that happened. They wanted to show the true horrible ramifications of this incident and how it affected this part of the world, how it affected these people. So yeah, my understanding is that it's fairly historically accurate. It, and obviously, they did not really go and film at Chernobyl. They obviously didn't go really film there. But the way this show is done, I think like the cinematography and I think there's a lot of hidden CGI effects going on. And that's the type of CGI I love in a show, is CGI that is hidden, that you have no idea there's actually a lot of CGI going on, because I have a feeling there's quite a lot of it going on in this show to really give you that scope and look at what Chernobyl looked like during this time period. And then the community that was like a couple miles away. This shows it really gets a lot of that historic detail for the 1980s. You really feel like you're in this world, you're part of this time, you're part of this event. And don't get me started on the incredible acting. Yeah, guys, the insane group of actors in this show is bonkers. You have Jared Harris in this show. Every time Jared Harris pops up, I get great joy. I freaking love him as an actor. He is just one of the best in his particular generation of actors. Jared Harris is playing a character. He's like a professor, and he's kind of recruited to be part of this committee to investigate the events. What happened at Chernobyl exactly. So yeah, Jared Harris is your primary big focus character that you're with. And then you have another character who's part of the committee, played by Stellan Skarsgård. I loved him in this show as well. Dear God, whenever Stellan Skarsgård and Jared Harris were together in any given scene, those scenes were absolutely magnetic, you guys. Just two actors of the same age group, just battling out with their dialogue and wit. Just two powerhouses when it comes to those actors. And then also part of the committee is another character played by Emily Watson. She's like a scientist. She's like super smart, super intelligent. She pretty much kind of figures out a lot of things before a lot of other people do. But yeah, no one listens to her half the time because she's a scientist. But yeah, I loved Emily Watson in this show as well. And then, yeah, you got like Jessie Buckley randomly in this show. I didn't know Jessie Buckley was in the show, and I adore Jessie Buckley. But yeah, she's playing like the wife of a firefighter who gets severely injured and dies eventually. And I liked what the show was kind of doing as well, because it's showing all these various different points of view when it comes to this disaster. You have a professor, you have a guy who's part of the Soviet Union, you have like in the government, and then you have like Emily Watson's character who's a scientist, and then you have like that deeper human level where you have the people who are part of the community outside of Chernobyl, the people who worked at Chernobyl, and then their families and whatnot. I loved all the various different threads and characters, and once again, how all these people are affected by this disaster. It's not just a few people, it's a whole entire freaking community, and yet it's no longer inhabited. That entire area is no longer inhabited. You can't live there for like another couple hundred years or so. Yeah, this miniseries, it's a roller coaster of a ride, you guys. You're gonna have some emotional ups and downs. I definitely cried quite a few times. I'm not gonna lie. Do not get me started on the episode that dealt with the dogs. Dear God, I'm gonna tell you right now, if you're someone who can't stand animal cruelty, I mean, in the context of what's going on in this show, the animal cruelty is something that's explained and why it's there and why it's necessary. But yeah, if you have a rough time with animal cruelty, there's one particular episode with some dogs that I really struggled to get through, you guys. I had to pause. I had to stop watching the show about 3 different times so I can grab a tissue and sob my eyes out. I was that bad. I was that disturbed by the damn dogs. It's like I could get through all the stuff with the people for some reason. I don't know why. But yeah, the dogs was kind of the last straw for me for some stupid reason. And another big part of this show that I enjoyed, because it's taking place kind of during, you know, the Soviet Union and whatnot, which a lot of the Soviet Union is still kind of this big mystery, you know. But yeah, the show is dealing very heavily with what was going on in the Soviet Union during this time period, and the fact that the Soviet Union, kind of my understanding of how this miniseries was kind of displaying and explaining things, you know, the Soviet Union trying to have this facade like we are the best country in the world, our workers are the best in the world, our government is the best in the world, but and yeah, a lot of it, what happens with this disaster, you know, the Soviet Union, it's like they're embarrassed. You know, they are so incredibly embarrassed, like, oh, we're the top country in the world, our science and our technology is the top in the world, blah, 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 and it's so embarrassing that we have this disaster, and the thing is, because they kind of prolong certain things, you know, there's more and more death, there's more and more contamination, you know, and just so much misinformation kind of getting out there. The Soviet Union trying to cover everything up because they always kind of keep bringing up the Americans, you know, that we don't want the Americans to know about all this, you know. But yeah, it kind of reaches a point, you know, this contamination and this spread from the fallout of the explosion, you know, because I think it reaches, what, Sweden? I think it's Sweden at some point, because Sweden's, I think, one of the first to be like, hey, there's something going on here, we're detecting radiation poisoning, you know. Then yeah, the Soviet Union has to all of a sudden be like, yeah, we had an explosion, oopsie. We're just now letting you know about it, when they should have let the world know about it immediately, you know, instead of trying to cover it up. So the show is dealing very strongly with that, you know, the political environment more than anything during this time period with the Soviet Union, how the Soviet Union was just trying their best to cover this disaster up, you know, rather than admit, hey, we had a boo-boo, you know, we had a little bit of a boo-boo here, sorry, you know, instead of coming out and saying that, you know, they act more high and mighty and embarrassed about the whole thing, you know, which is absolutely terrible. Once again, prolonging getting that information out there, and in the meantime, more and more people are dying, and more is getting contaminated and destroyed as a result, you know. So I love that political kind of thing going on within this show as well, you know, the politics of the Soviet Union. So yeah, you guys, is that all I want to say about this show? I think that's really all I want to say. I just wanted to kind of keep it short and to the point, since like I said, it already came out back in 2019. All the reviews are out there that have already talked about this show. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of put my thoughts out there, how much I enjoyed this show, and if you haven't gotten around to it yet, go check it out on Max. It is available on Max. Yeah, just a very emotional viewing experience, yeah, guys. And yeah, very highly educational, I think. I felt like I learned a lot about the Chernobyl incident, because I definitely walked out with a lot more information than I did walking into it. And yeah, would I watch this miniseries again? I think so. But I definitely would need, like, you know, some time. I wouldn't like jump right into a rewatch immediately. It's definitely one of those things I would love to have a rewatch of it. But yeah, I need some time away from it, you know, get back into a nice happy place before going into all the depressing stuff. So you guys, that is it for my thoughts and feelings on Chernobyl. In the comments below, have you guys seen this fantastic mini-series, or do you plan on watching it as a result of my thoughts and feelings? Just let me know your thoughts down below. So that's it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you like this video, you may like these other videos. Bye, guys.